Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today on LinkedIn Live. My name is Mark Blanchard. I'm the Business Innovation Specialist at Equisoft, and I will be the host of today's discussion. If you're joining us live, go ahead and say hi or comment from where you're joining us from. We'll be keeping an eye on the chat for interesting questions related to the conversation, and we will do our best to answer them live during the Q&A period. So now I'd like to introduce our guests for today's discussion on Equisoft's exclusive commissioned research with insurance carrier CIOs on getting value from data. Please join me in welcoming Dan McCoach, Head of Insurance, Life and Health from Celent. Hey, Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Mark, how are you? It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I guess we could start from the basics. So what was it that this research intended to explore?
Sure. The research was designed to explore the benefits and, frankly, the challenges that insurance companies are experiencing as a result of the flood of newly available data from the digital realm.
And was it conducted? How was it conducted, and with who?
So it was conducted through a controlled survey sent to CIOs at Celent's insurance clients and to CIOs who are a part of Celent's research panel. A fairly uniform distribution of respondents is represented in the results from Tier 1 through Tier 4 insurance companies.
What did the research reveal about how CIOs are using their current data to create value in their organization?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of the survey, and it's a set of fascinating results. The survey reveals that insurers are getting the most value from increasing the availability of data from external sources used to improve the pricing of risks and the selection and underwriting of risks. Also, risk modeling is benefiting from the velocity and control improvements that cloud-based analytic platforms are providing. The pandemic had a big impact on underwriting, curtailing or eliminating the availability to physically assess life risks. Our survey revealed that new sources of third-party data, such as electronic health records, are filling in the gap, improving the automation and acceleration of underwriting, including the broadening now of coverages to permanent insurance. Here's a quote from a survey respondent that highlights this point. Let me quote this. "We're going more digital and using RPA as a transformative set of technologies in underwriting, with now 1/3 of our business happening with straight-through processing, and another 25% of our business has eliminated the expensive additional data we used to collect." The study also reveals that data and analytics are playing an increasing role in new business acquisition, with a high number of respondents citing automation of forms, including the integration of third-party data into those forms. Finally, many respondents indicated that improved analytics are creating value for customer and agent experiences, including more personalization and increased productivity for agents. However, the study also revealed that several challenges remain. They include service-oriented capabilities such as omni-channel delivery and cross-selling and value metric calculations such as lifetime value. Again, to make this point, here's a pertinent quote from a survey respondent. "We are stuck. Customer-level data is not available to link across all of our systems." In short, insurers are focused on and getting value from pretty traditional domains, pricing and underwriting, with important but secondary progress in customer experience and customer servicing and agent productivity.
So touching back on what you just said, what are some of the biggest challenges insurers face in leveraging their data?
That's a great question. So we'll dig through the results a little bit here. The first and second prioritized challenges that reveal themselves are actually not what you might have expected. In other words, they're not technology nor skill related, again, as we might have expected, but they are with the long-standing and perennial issues of cultural change and data governance. Secondly, the results point to additional challenges from the long-standing issues with legacy and disparate systems and increasing point-to-point solutions. One might deduce that the increasing reliance on external third parties may be exacerbating this point with respect to point-to-point integration and the potential inflexibility. Again, here are a few quotes from survey respondents, and I hope that these highlight some of these challenging points that I'm making. Here's one. There is no business ownership of data, and cultural gaps slow our change management. Another quote from a respondent. There are lots of small, purpose-built systems with isolated silos of data that don't agree when merged. Finally, another quote. No one is in charge of data quality. We have pockets of greatness surrounded by swampy moats. We're putting it in the cloud and sorting it all out there. Mark, I hope that was helpful in terms of illustrating some of the points with respect to those challenges.
Absolutely. In turn, what technologies are CIOs using to maximize the value of their data?
The response to the survey reveals two very close calls, if you will, between two key technologies, and they are artificial intelligence and machine learning and cloud storage and cloud-based analytic tools. The third and fourth most heavily used technologies per the survey are recommendation engines coupled with robotic process automation. Again, I found this quote. Here's a quote from a respondent with respect to this particular category. And it is that intelligent cognitive technologies are applied to conversational service and support with voice, text, chat, portal, and agent phone optimization. I hope that's helpful, Mark, with respect to the technologies that CIOs are seeing for the most value from the data.
Yes, thank you. Next question would be, what are the most promising future uses of data? For example, what are CIOs investing in today that they hope will pay off tomorrow?
That's a great question, and a really fascinating result has come from the survey. And interestingly, it indicates that an emerging focus on cybersecurity is occurring. Specifically, the application of AI to the really tough problems of proactivity or predictive detection. We had a respondent state that the usual approach to cyber monitoring, using more eyes on the environment, if you will, is not scalable, and that predictive analytics are becoming critical to prioritizing and sorting detectable incidents and to scaling.
That's quite interesting. A frequent comment from the CIOs was that they can't trust their data, and that's causing them problems. Why don't insurers trust their data?
You know, that's an interesting assertion. Let me try to give a balanced answer, and of course, cite the summaries from the survey itself. It's certainly a fair charge that for some domains there are challenges, but not all. For the priority uses I highlighted above, specifically data used for pricing and evaluating risks, insurance companies can and obviously do trust their data. The longevity of the industry, including the rough rides, if you will, through the financial crisis and now through COVID, suggests that life insurers do a good job of risk and asset management. However, we are now trying to change the business for the new demands of the marketplace, which requires consolidated and accurate data, often from new third parties, for customer profiles, holistic service, and agent support. And these remain key challenges.
And what steps can they take to increase confidence in data quality?
Great question. First, I think it's really important to ensure that your data strategy's plan is clearly linked to the business strategy and its objectives. Second, increasing confidence is about providing evidence over time for progress. And that means that we have to align specific analytic outcomes to the strategy itself and to quantitatively measure and report progress for those outcomes. So addressing confidence is often a matter of defining and measuring the root issues with the quality in each domain aligned to each outcome. And typically the root issues are related to completeness, accuracy, and timeliness. So, for example, the data analytics group may be asked to ensure that customer profiles are capable of sustained self-service. And there are fairly straightforward measures for completeness and timeliness, whose improvement over time will go a long way toward better confidence in the value of those customer profiles. Another example might be more operationally focused and might involve data integration and data flows. And here, the automation of data controls and the reporting of their effectiveness can go a long way. Cloud-based technologies with respect to data integration tools are now very, very good at automating controls and ensuring accuracy along a process.
I have a little pop-up question here that might be appropriate. Can you speak more on what focus you're seeing on cybersecurity? How is it changing?
I can embellish it a bit. This was a bit of an unexpected result out of the survey, so we have partial information. But for example, endpoint detection is becoming increasingly important. However, tools that provide endpoint detection capabilities can generate a flood, a tremendous amount of data. And so, again, per the quote that I specified from a CIO, more eyes on the glass, for example, is often not a scalable model. And so, given the output of tools like endpoint detection tools and the slight aberrations that are frequently generated by those tools, the question is that an incident? Is that something we need to pay attention to? And the pattern recognition around those data streams are ideal for advanced analytics or AI kinds of capabilities.
Well, thank you for that impromptu question and answer. Next question would be, what were the organizational challenges CIOs cited when trying to transform into a data-driven company?
Great question. Referencing the points I made earlier, the first and second prioritized challenges are, again, the longstanding and perennial issues of cultural change and data governance. Many companies are creating senior leadership roles to maximize the enterprise value of their data assets. So positions such as the chief data officer, the chief digital officer, or the chief analytics officer are becoming more prevalent in organizations, including representation to the board for the value of data assets. Smaller organizations, interestingly, appear to be more nimble and are busy experimenting with the blurring of the lines between IT, product, and marketing, for example. They are using approaches like co-location of resources and realigning their already flat organization structures for better outcomes.
Thank you. And next question would be, what results or CIO comments did you find most surprising or intriguing?
That's a great question. Intriguing. I find it very intriguing that there is in fact a paradox in the results, if you will, because as I referenced earlier, the third and fourth most cited technologies are recommendation engines and RPA. So let's consider this for a moment, because recommendation engines rely on good information about who the customer is, or possibly even an omni-channel view. Yet, as I pointed out, there are clearly ongoing challenges with customer data. I think there are two key follow-ups we should pursue. What must insurance companies do to improve their customer data? And how are omni-channel service platforms, including recommendation engines, being deployed? I found those to be, I think, the most intriguing aspects of the outcomes.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for sharing. And I'd like to, if you'd like, to download the research report, please click on the link in the chat. Let me see if there's any additional questions here. Okay, I have one question here. So we're going to open up, of course, for the Q&A portion. My apologies. Feel free to type in your questions on the right-hand side. We have the opportunity of hosting them live. One question here: is it possible for carriers to have a single source of truth when it comes to their data? What steps can help reduce discrepancies between data sources?
That's a great question. We hear this term often with insurance companies, the challenge of the single source of truth. And the survey did reveal some insights into this, particularly from a couple of quotes from our CIOs. And I would say that the propagation of spreadsheets and the manual workflows that grew up around them are a major problem, if you will, for the single source of truth. And the reason for that is the data is downloaded or extracted from a system of record and acted upon, and where subsequent changes are not propagated in a controlled manner to each participant in a process. In short, these processes, often enabled obviously by spreadsheets, are decoupled from the sanctioned systems of record, and change management and propagation becomes a major issue. So the combination of governance policies and new cloud technologies that enable real-time and controlled propagation can help address this issue. For example, if data and the calculation tools remain together in the cloud, in short, if they are not decoupled from the system of record, and change management is automated for all participants in a process, then confidence in what the truth is will go up.
Agreed. And additional question here. Do you have any advice for execs contemplating data projects based on mistakes and successes carriers have experienced?
Boy, great question. Advice. So, yeah, I think that's a great. So maybe I'll be a little provocative here and say, I think the build it and they will come philosophy generally doesn't work. I would say, again, ensure that your data strategies plan is clearly linked to the business strategy and its objectives. I would say don't build or mitigate anything unless your linkage and the adjoining business case is clear with respect to that linkage.
Excellent. Thanks again. So it looks like that's all the time that we have for today's live stream. First, I'd like to thank you, Dan, for joining us today, and everyone who tuned in live as well. Please make sure that you follow us on LinkedIn to get notified of our upcoming LinkedIn live events throughout the year. We plan to be quite active and bringing more industry experts on air to talk about innovation in our industry. So once again, thank you so much, Dan, for joining us. And I would like to wish everybody a great day.
Thank you. And on behalf of Celent, thank you for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.